What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So it is Tuesday, 5 days after Season of Discovery Phase 2 has launched, and we're already getting a ton of changes. These changes involve the Stranglethorn PvP event, the Blood Moon, and some pretty hefty changes to Boomkins. So without further ado, guys, let's dive in. So the first major thing I want to talk to you guys about is quest creature availability out in the open world. Blizzard has addressed this, and they are currently investigating and working through the data to figure out how to make this a little bit better for the player base, right? If you're questing when it's super popular like this at the beginning of a phase launch, it's really hard to tag the mobs that you need for your quest. So apparently what they've been doing is messing with like the target numbers of how many people need to be on a layer before a new layer spins up and stuff like that. They said we kind of have to wait and see here to figure out what the best way to approach this is, but it is on their radar. So questing might not be too bad in the coming weeks if this is something that they're able to fix. Aside from that, we've already seen massive class adjustments to druids, right? We have Star Surge's base damage being reduced by 35%, and its benefit from bonus spell damage effects reduced to 42.9%, matching other instant spells. On top of that, Star Surge now provides a new effect, and this new effect is your next Starfire cast within 15 seconds deals 66% increased damage. They also fixed an issue with enhanced restoration, preventing Nourish from gaining increased healing from rejuvenation and regrowth. And then we have two other bug fixes for Paladins and Shamans. For Paladins, they fixed an issue where Sheath of Light's spell power proc wasn't correctly activating by melee attacks, and for Shamans, they fixed an issue where Ravaging Tempest could sometimes not lose its protective aura when Algra Split Tusk was killed. Aside from those druid changes, we have a couple of other changes that are going live as well. For starters, you can now get a new Squallbreaker's Potion from Rao Cliffrunner in Freewind Post upon accepting the quest Calm Before the Storm. And then next we have the Lesser Arcane Elixir is now bind on pickup. The Battle for Ashenvale weekly quests Clear the Forest and Repelling the Invaders now grant full XP and reputation rewards through level 40. This one is huge for anyone still trying to farm their exalted reputation standing with the Warsong faction. On top of that, we have the Ashenvale Rallying Cry world buff, which is now going to be usable through level 39. Then targeting the new world buff drops from completing No Marigun, we have the Spark of Inspiration world buff now correctly increases plus healing. Aside from all that, we have some pretty big changes coming to the Stranglethorn PvP event, the Blood Moon. Starting off with the Blood Moon event, the Blood Moon buff gained during the event will increase player stamina by 30%. And I think this is really going to help out a lot because it really is a pretty chaotic event. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun, but repeatedly getting one shot by Mutilate Rogues is definitely not that enjoyable. So having 30% increased health is going to make a massive difference. We also have some changes to the debuff, the Bloodless effect. The Bloodless effect gained after death is being adjusted and now will last 20 seconds down from 1 minute. Additionally, this effect will now also grant a Pacify and Invisibility effect so that players can resurrect and then move away from the graveyard / chained spirits, mount up, summon pets, and more effectively reset after combat to prepare for the next fight. This one for me is massive. Being able to get out of the heat of battle and kind of reset, buff up, summon your pet if you're a warlock, mount up, run away, go catch up with your friends, whatever it is, that is going to be huge because that was one big gripe that I had with this event is that after you died that initial time, you pretty much were never able to regroup with your friends and rebuff and get ready for the next fight. It was so chaotic, you would just be leaving the graveyard, and if people don't realize what that debuff is, they were just killing you anyway, even though they were getting no rewards for it, and this resulted in some really frustrating gameplay. And then we have the Zandalari Emissaries. They're now getting a more pronounced visual effect to make them more visible in their spawn locations in Booty Bay, Grom Gal, Northern Stranglethorn, and Yojamba Isle. For those of you who don't know, the Zandalari Emissaries are the NPC that you can talk to opt out of the event if you do not want to participate. And then Blizzard goes on record to say, please note that this list of changes is not comprehensive and does not address all issues we'd like to address with the event. These are changes we hope to make rapidly to make the experience smoother in the short term while we observe player behavior and determine the needs for additional adjustments going forward. We also want to take a moment to recognize that this event is in fact extremely brutal and unforgiving, and that this is expected. This is another wild experiment that we knew could be somewhat divisive, and we feel that is okay. While we want to continue to make improvements, due to the nature of PvP and especially free-for-all PvP, you will encounter frustration at times, and this is very true. The rewards we've added for it are also tuned deliberately in such a way that they should be relatively easily obtainable, often requiring just a few events to obtain, but also should not be mandatory for anyone. Despite being epic quality, the weapons and accessories are roughly on par with level 40 blue items and are in most cases inferior to equipment available in Gnomeregan. If you find PvP frustrating, it's okay to steer clear of this event and pursue other paths for power progression. So I think that's really important to note, right? You see these shiny epics on the vendor, but if you look at Gnomeregan, your BIS is coming from Gnomeregan in most cases, right? In most cases, at least for me it is, for warriors. The Sanguine Crusher is really nice, and I'm going to farm it. I do think making them epic quality, kind of gives this FOMO feeling to most people, like you really do feel like you need to farm these items or you're behind. And then, of course, we have the other issue where upon launch, people who are doing the event early on were able to obtain coins so much faster than everyone else. So if you didn't do the event in that first 12-hour period before they nerfed it, you're pretty much at a disadvantage. And really, what can Blizzard do? They can't go back and take the epics away from people. So it just is what it is at this point. And really, it's a handful of people that were able to do that. So in the long run, it won't really matter. But I do think that overall, these are some good changes. And again, this event is probably going to be tweaked back and forth, left and right, as this phase progresses. Think about how many changes there were to Ashenvale, especially in the beginning. Every single day, it was basically Season of Ashenvale hotfixes. And there was just tons and tons and tons of them until it got to a point where it was playable, right? And it was enjoyable to an extent, and I think that's what we're going to get to with the Stranglethorn Vale Blood Moon event. I think that this event, right off the bat, is definitely more fun than the Ashenvale event. It is at least a PvP event, and again, like they said, PvP can be frustrating, so don't feel like you need to farm these items, because you don't need to farm them. You can get better gear in Gnomeregan in most cases. But anyways, guys, that's all the updates I have for you today, so if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Really does help me out with the algorithm. Share it with a friend. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next time I post a video. And if you want to hang out with me live, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/hammerdance. I'll drop a link to that in the description below this video. And if you want to join an awesome Discord community full of like-minded people who all enjoy geeking out over Season of Discovery and Classic WoW in general, I'll drop a link to the Discord in the description as well. We will welcome you with open arms. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening in. I'll see you all in the next one.